Thank you everyone for coming out tonight. We're going to begin our agenda with 2.01, which is a presentation from a CHS student. It's a little bit different than normal, and we are asking one of our students to make a presentation. Chesterton High School senior Carmen Thomas is a 4-year member of the Speech and Debate team. She was named Academic All-American by the National Speech and Debate Association last year as a 3-time national qualifier. This year, Carmen and her coach, Danielle Hunt, wrote a persuasive speech to highlight a societal problem. After competing in 6 elimination rounds against 40 other entries, Carmen was named state champion in original oratory. Tonight, Carmen will present the speech she will take to nationals in June. So everyone, please welcome Carmen.
Everything is terrible. I mean, terrible. Gas prices, Gaza, women's rights, queer rights, race relations, inflation, the tampon tax, microplastics in our tampons, poverty, climate change, Ukraine, cost of living, healthcare, school funding, teacher burnout, gun violence, big pharma, now Canada hates us, and California is always on fire. I have always been a concerned citizen. My parents would say I was dramatic. I was an advocate. At 10, I insisted on being vegetarian because of animal cruelty, and I used to dig through my grandparents' garbage. They refused to recycle. So I took their recyclables home in my mom's trunk and put them in our bin. I was a little kid trying to solve big problems. Sure, my grandparents didn't have to ignore climate change, but it's also true that I didn't have to touch garbage with my bare hands. Unfortunately, extreme responses like mine and like my grandparents are how we react to, well, everything being terrible. In a society where the overexposure to catastrophic events is ingrained in our media, we react in one of 2 extremes: radical indifference and radical involvement. Today, let's become concerned citizens by first learning to recognize these 2 extremes and then advocating for some solutions. An unaware and frankly unwilling focus of my advocacy has been the poor bugs trapped inside my house. There was a 1-to-3 ratio of bugs I saved to bugs my dad squashed. Yes, I collected bug data. It's easy to understand why my dad felt that smashing one little spider didn't matter, but to me, his approach felt radically indifferent. Unfortunately, according to the Pew Research Center, many Americans have felt that their one little vote doesn't matter. Only 6 out of 10 Americans voted in the 2020 presidential election, and 2024, 85.9 million eligible voters did not vote. Using data from the Florida Election Lab, analysis shows that if did not vote had been a presidential candidate, they would have beaten Donald Trump by 9 million votes. When confronted with a difficult decision between 2 candidates, many of us adopt radical indifference as a response. In fact, many of us are not engaging with the news or current events at all. According to the Reuters Institute 2022 Digital News Report, 42% of Americans actively avoid the news, a rate higher than at least 30 other countries. We are exposed to catastrophic events in nearly every form of media that we consume. According to Mayo Clinic, not engaging in the world around us is actually a neurological reaction called derealization. When faced with overwhelming global distress, we begin to feel as if our surroundings aren't even real. News can be hard to absorb, but when we avoid global issues, we don't just gamble our future. We isolate ourselves. My radical involvement on behalf of bugs and recycling was limited to my home and immediate family, and my protests were unappreciated and usually unnoticed. However, in order to reform, often we must be noticed. USA Today reports that since May of 2022, there have been over 24 incidents of defacing or attempting to deface historically significant art. In a desperate effort to bring attention to climate change, activists have thrown soup at Van Gogh sunflowers, attempted to break the glass case protecting the Mona Lisa, and glued themselves to a Monet. Their actions caused hundreds of thousands of dollars in restoration costs. As political science professor Shannon Gibson puts it, the line between reformists and radicals is blurring. August of 2020, then 17-year-old Kyle Rittenhouse learned about violent police brutality protests online, traveled across state lines, and took it upon himself to protect businesses from riots. He fired a semi-automatic weapon into a crowd of protesters, leaving 2 dead and a 3rd wounded. These were the consequences when one person became radically involved. January 6th, 2021. A mob numbering in the thousands stormed the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. They looted the premises, destroyed property, and attacked Capitol guards. 5 people died, including a Capitol police officer. When we become radically involved, we turn ourselves into martyrs. The line is not blurring. It is gone. I get it. Everything is terrible. We are tired. We are frustrated. It is so easy to become radically indifferent or radically involved. Sometimes it seems like all we hear is bad news. And sometimes we get bad news. When I was 13, I was diagnosed with juvenile psoriatic arthritis. I was a dancer. There would be no more dancing. And at first, I was radically involved. I Googled everything. I knew medications as well as the pharmacist and every single side effect. I kept a binder with my treatment plan and my many, many questions for my doctors. But after a few months, I got overwhelmed. I couldn't take any more. I stopped Googling, I stopped asking questions, I stopped paying attention to my symptoms. I just stopped. I was radically indifferent. I instinctively knew that I needed to self-regulate, but I just couldn't. My illness took me right back to that little girl that was so worried about bugs and recycling and trying to save the world. I just wanted her to feel safe. I have been both of these people, and I'm sure I'll be both of them again. Of course, neither of those radical options felt right. What I want is to land somewhere in between. So, we just need to get involved, be an advocate, avoid indifference, cultivate empathy, yet step away when we need to, and protect our mental health. We want to engage safely so that we can be of service. When Walter Bradford Cannon discovered the fight-or-flight response in 1915, he saw the human instinct to regulate. He coined the term homeostasis in 1926 to describe our biological self-regulation process. When the fight-or-flight response comes from this overexposure, maybe the answer is closer than we think, perhaps in our hand. We can use technology to avoid some topics while still maintaining awareness of others. In an article for Popular Science, Sandra Gutierrez notes that most social media apps and news platforms have features that can mute or block words and phrases. You can change your settings at any time. or not. Then look around. When we are feeling radically indifferent or radically involved, look to your right, look to your left, and meet any small need right where you are. In your home, in your neighborhood, in your little world. We can be radical, radically compassionate. Maybe everything is not so terrible after all.
Thank you, Carmen. As a much less successful former member of the Chesterton High School Speech and Debate Program, I will tell you that your ability to stand up and give that presentation verbatim to a room full of people is going to pay dividends to you the rest of your life. So congratulations to you. Moving on to 2.02, Carmen, if you need to go home and study for finals, you're more than welcome. Superintendent Robert McDermott will provide an update on the Project Adam certification efforts throughout the Duneland schools.
Thank you very much. About a year ago, Chesterton High School nurse Brittany Smith approached Principal Martinson and me with a proposal. She wanted to lead the effort for Chesterton High School to earn Project Adam certification. Project Adam, short for Automated Defibrillators in Adam's Memory, is a national initiative dedicated to helping schools prepare for sudden cardiac arrest. The program was created in memory of Adam, a high school student from Wisconsin who tragically lost his life after collapsing during a basketball game. While CPR was administered, no AED was readily available, and his heart couldn't be restarted in time. Although emergency responders arrived within 8 minutes, Adam would have needed an AED within the first 2 to 3 minutes to have his best chance at survival. Sudden cardiac arrest can happen to anyone at any time. Here in Duneland, we know that all too well. AEDs have been deployed 10 times in our schools over the past 3 years. In many cases, the difference between life and death comes down to having the right equipment in place and people who are ready and trained to use it. That's the very purpose of the Project Adam process. To become certified, a school must create a detailed cardiac emergency response plan, ensure AEDs are properly placed, easily located, and properly maintained. Staff must be trained in recognizing and responding to cardiac emergencies and complete a live readiness drill observed by a Project Adam representative with an active response from local emergency medical responders. This past fall, I had the honor of watching Chesterton High School earn its certification. I was so impressed by the process and by Nurse Smith's leadership that I asked if she would be willing to help guide the rest of our schools through certification as well. She graciously accepted without hesitation. Thanks to her efforts, every school in the Duneland School Corporation was trained for this process, and I am proud to share that as of this afternoon, our final school was officially certified, making Duneland the first Project Adam certified district in Porter County and Northwest Indiana. This distinction is more than just a recognition. It's a powerful reflection of the care, diligence, and collaboration among our staff, administrators, school resource officers, and first responders. I want to extend my sincere thank you to all of them, especially our school nurses and our Director of Health Services, Mrs. Sam Hunter, for their unwavering support of this initiative. Finally, I'd like to recognize the individual who made this all possible. Her commitment, passion, and leadership have made our schools safer places for students, staff, and visitors alike, and will save lives. Please join me in thanking and congratulating Chesterton High School nurse, Mrs. Brittany Smith. I think she's also going to provide us with a Project Adam banner for the district.
Thank you.
You could hold it up. You're going to take a picture. You can hold it up with them.
Congratulations. Thank you so much.
Put you like in the middle
Oh,
of
great.
the banner. Yeah.
Sorry.
Corporation is proud to announce the winners of the 2025 Teachers of the Year and Employee of the Year recognition program. The winners are Elementary Teacher of the Year, Russ Hardsock, Yost Elementary. Secondary Teacher of the Year, George Fox, Chesterton High School. And Employee of the Year, Shauna Jesse, Chesterton High School Resource Officer. This year's winners were notified of their award on April 29th, and presented with a $500 check from the following community partners: Lane One Foundation, Elementary Teacher of the Year; First Source Bank, Secondary Teacher of the Year; Ellis Electric, Employee of the Year. In addition, all winners will be eligible for statewide recognition as part of the Indiana Department of Education competition, and a plaque honoring the winners is on display here at the Dublin School Corporation's Administration Center. At this time, I'd ask that Russ and George come forward for recognition, and we'll be sure to invite Shauna to next month's meeting if she's not able to attend. Thank you.
Yes. Yes, otherwise it won't stay.
And maybe put you guys in front here. Russ, maybe on this side, Here, I'll go on my tippy toes.
Okay, nobody can stand behind them.
Not sure on the audio until you're right. Exactly. It seems to be okay.
There we go, perfect.
Yep.
Should check my eyes.
That's pretty good, yeah.
You're good if you
They
get me
were
with my eyes
They
open.
were open. They just looked like they were shut. That's very one. We get another one, please. My flash go on? No. 1, 2. Thank you.
Oh, good.
As no one has signed up for paid participation, I will move to our Section 5 consent agenda. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
The first and the second, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 6.01, new business, Chesterton High School curriculum materials for miscellaneous courses.
Good evening. Before you tonight is a recommendation for curricular courses under consideration for adoption for several courses in Chesterton High School. These recommendations come from teams of administrators, teachers, and parents who've taken the time to review options to determine final selections and final confirmation from the Department of Teaching and Learning. At this time, Dublin School Corporation Administration is seeking approval for the curriculum materials for high school courses in AP US Government, Kinesiology, English 10, Early Childhood Education, Early Childhood Guidance, and the dual credit law enforcement courses for the 2025-2026 school year.
Thank you, Kevin. Any questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the curriculum materials for miscellaneous courses.
I'll second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
6.02, 2025-2026 Student Code of Conduct and Handbook Revisions.
Thank you. Each year, the DSC handbooks and code of conduct is brought to the board for approval. There are minor changes to the drug and alcohol and weapons rules within the code of conduct. Other changes reflect current practices within each specific school and corporation. The administration is recommending board approval for the 25-26 code of conduct and handbook provisions for the elementary, intermediate, middle school, high school, and Northwest Indiana online school.
As I went through them, these seem pretty minor.
Yeah.
All right, I'll entertain a motion in 6.02.
Motion to accept changes of the code of conduct for handbook purposes.
One second.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. 6.03, authorization to sign agreements for alternative service and private residential school placement.
Thank you. This is an annual housekeeping item. From time to time, Dublin students are served fast when placed into community-supported services or residential facilities. To do so, a representative from the school corporation must be authorized to sign agreements with the Indiana Department of Education. This document authorizes the superintendent of schools to sign agreements from the IDOE to fund student placement in community-supported and residential placements. Administration recommends authorization for superintendent of schools to sign agreements with the IDOE in this manner.
Dr. Pettit, any questions? 6.03. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the authorization.
First and second, any discussion? All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. 6.04, 2025 bus purchases.
Thank you. Under the corporation's bus replacement plan for 2025, the Duneland Department of Transportation requests to purchase 2 Type C 54-passenger special need lift buses. Duneland uses the Central Indiana Service Center cooperative purchase bid for these purchases. Bids on the CIESC bid are from Bluebird, IC Collins, and Thomas. For the buses that we are purchasing, IC Collins had a lowest and best bid for our Type C buses. They will include the HD camera system, dual stop arm cameras, a dash camera, and 4 360-degree interior cameras. The first safety illustrated bus sign and stop arm, and 10 child integrated seats with the driver AC standard option. We request the purchase, the price is $365,326, and that was a little less than the budget, which was $397,400. Any questions?
Have we taken delivery of the order from 2024 yet?
We actually have taken delivery finally as of, late March for all buses that have been backlogged for the last 2 years.
We're just ordering 2 this year. How many do we normally order?
Anywhere from 8 to 10 based on the ones by age, so.
Just this is a budget consideration or something? Okay.
This is a budget consideration, yes.
How many of the special needs will then be in our fleet?
Total?
Yes, if you know.
I don't remember
Okay.
off the top of my head. We do keep up on special needs, we don't push those out for longer terms because of the, specialized equipment that goes with them, though. I can get that answer for
Yeah.
you.
Excellent.
Certainly.
Any other questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to accept the bus purchase agreement.
I'll second.
First and second, any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
6.05, award base bid for K through 4 playground equipment.
Thank you. The K-4 playgrounds at Bailey, Brummett, Jackson, and Liberty Elementary Schools are slated for replacement this summer. Playground equipment will be purchased through a co-op agreement that does not require competitive bidding. The total estimated cost of the entire project is $2.5 million funded out of the 2025 GO bond. This bid in front of the board tonight includes demolition of existing K-4 playground equipment identified for replacement, demolition of damaged benches and tables, and the site work necessary to install this new equipment at our elementary schools. Bids were received by 2 contractors and opened publicly on Friday, May 2nd. Based on the review and recommendations of the Skillman Construction Management Corporation, Dillon Administration recommends the board award Goff Incorporated the total base bid contract amount of $415,000.
So in essence, Yost already has no equipment, right? So we're just doing the rest of the.
Yost has new equipment, this is for the site work at the other 4 elementary schools, and then we'll bring the equipment purchase back to the board, but that's done through a co-op, through Sourcewell, where we don't have to negotiate or bid a price, we're guaranteed the lowest best price. The only other thing that Yost will get, as well as the Liberty and Westchester campuses, they'll get new basketball goals. So all 5 elementaries and then the 2 intermediate middle campuses will have basketball goals as they did previously in
The middle schools.
Yes,
Is there any in high school?
none at the high school.
If there are any pieces that are solid retrieval, don't believe there are in the daily, like, at least, would there be a process for, what would?
As part of the renovation process, we've evaluated all of the pieces of
Okay.
equipment. There's some equipment, I believe, at Jackson and at Brummett
Okay.
that, we can get some more life out of, and they'll be incorporated into the new design, but they'll just need replacement much
Gotcha.
sooner than the equipment that's going to be installed. I see Mr. Oakley in the audience. Mike, is that accurate, Jackson and Brummett?
It is.
Thank you. So, Chip, you said the total project, budget is 2.5 million, with this being the 415,000. Is that about where we expected this site work bid to come in?
Yes, I think we're not certain. We would have liked to see more than 2, bidding on it, but we budgeted about 500,000 per elementary school, which is similar to what Yost received. The idea that all 5 elementary schools would look comparable.
And we still think we're gonna hit that?
Yes.
All right, I'll entertain a motion in 6.05.
Make a motion to accept the base bids for the playground site work.
I'll second.
First and second, any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we have, as I mentioned, nobody signed up for paid participation. I will move to 7.03, public relation highlights.
Good evening. E-Learning Day. The Duneland School Corporation will participate in a scheduled e-learning day tomorrow, Tuesday, May 6th, and will follow the 24-25 e-learning guidelines for a scheduled online or e-learning day, planned asynchronous. All this week, the district will celebrate Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week. This is an opportunity to recognize the dedication and commitment of Duneland teachers and staff as they inspire, engage, and empower our students to succeed. On Wednesday, May 7th, the district will celebrate National School Nurse Day. This date has been set aside to recognize school nurses and to thank them for all that they do for our students. National School Nurses Day was established to foster a better understanding of the role of school nurses in the educational setting. That's all.
Thank you, Bridget. I would add on 7.02, I'll do a full legislative update after the